Elisa Lam was born in February 1991 in Vancouver, Canada. She was an energetic, bright child, filled with curiosity about the world. Her family watched her grow into a creative, independent young woman who thrived on learning new things. In 2009, at age 18, Elisa moved to Los Angeles to pursue her dream. She was passionate about filmmaking and stories that touched people. She enrolled at Los Angeles City College, taking extra courses at UCLA Extension to dive deeper into film and journalism. By 2013, Elisa found herself living in downtown LA. She moved around a bit, from a student residence in Koreatown to renting a small apartment off Sunset Boulevard with friends. She loved the city's energy, the street art, the people, the chance to chase her dreams. In January 2013, she decided to explore more of LA's rich history and architecture. That led her to book a short stay at the Hotel Cecil, the historic Biltmore Hotel, famous for its grandeur and darker reputation. Elisa was excited, loving the mix of glamour and grit. She called her mom, saying, "I want to see LA, the city in full." She smiled, telling stories about street festivals, film sets she visited, and the art that held her attention. She felt hopeful. She felt alive. But deep down, Elisa sometimes struggled with periods of depression and anxiety. She didn't share that publicly. Her social media posts were bright, upbeat, always polished. She moved in her own light, bold, multifaceted, brave. And so begins our story. It was early January 2013 when Elisa booked a short stay at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown LA. She was excited. The hotel's historic elegance appealed to her creative eye. The lobby of the Biltmore is a throwback to 1920s grandeur. High ceilings, deep red carpets, golden light, polished wood. Elisa checked in around early evening. The receptionist looked up. She was friendly. Elisa smiled. She said she was in town for a project and hoped to capture the energy of the city in her film. Upstairs, her room was small but cozy, a tiny window overlooking the busy street. She pulled out her journal, wrote a few thoughts about LA's culture, and sketched ideas. Then she changed into a long dark coat and headed downstairs to walk around downtown, to photograph, to feel LA's pulse. Before leaving the hotel, she recorded video on her phone, brief glimpses of neon signs, street performers, city lights, the hum of traffic. She was in full creative mode, soaking it in, documenting it. She left her key card in the lobby desk, took the elevator down, polite smile to hotel staff, and walked out into the night. She looked back once at the grand archway and chandelier and thought, this place has character. Little did she know, that same character would hold secrets she would never live to tell. Early morning of February 1st, 2013, security staff at the Biltmore reviewed footage from a hallway elevator. Elisa was inside, alone. What followed was odd and disturbing. The video shows her pressing the close door button repeatedly, as if the elevator wouldn't close. She stepped in and out, looked at floor buttons, stepped out again. Her motion was jerky, unnatural, as if she couldn't get the elevator to operate normally. Moments later, a man in a security uniform enters behind her. They exchange something small and quick. Then he leaves. Elisa once again presses the button, and the doors close. The footage ends abruptly, no emergency scenes. Hotel staff said this was unusual. They design elevators for easy use. No resident ever struggles like this. Friends saw a version of the footage on YouTube. Some described Elisa as confused, frightened. Others believed she was communicating with someone invisible. Paranormal theories began to spread. The hotel's management delayed releasing the footage for 3 weeks. When the family arrived, they watched in a private room. It was surreal, heartbreaking. The video didn't match the energetic person they knew. That's the moment our story shifts from a traveler's journal to a mystery. After that unsettling elevator footage, Elisa texted her family around 7:30 a.m., waking them on the West Coast. She wrote about the hotel's elevators and its vintage feel. Nothing alarming. Later that day, she called her mother, telling her she felt a bit off. She said she was fine and would be downtown soon. That would be her last confirmed contact. Throughout the day, Elisa sent messages to friends. She asked about plans for that afternoon, maybe a cafe visit. She snapped quick photos of the lobby lights and sent them. But after lunch, texts went unanswered. By evening, those close to her sensed something was wrong. At 11 p.m., Elisa's mother tried calling again. Elisa didn't answer. No one did. Her friends waited. She missed their meeting. She missed dinner. And that's not like her. By February 2nd, roommates became genuinely alarmed when Elisa didn't return to her own residence. They tried her phone, straight to voicemail. They knocked on her door at the Biltmore. No answer. Hotel staff confirmed she hadn't checked out. Friends began arriving at the hotel. They spoke with reception. Elisa hadn't left. One friend, Zach, described seeing Elisa that afternoon near the pool, but staff said no pool swipes were recorded. Concern turned to fear. They reported her missing to the LAPD. The hotel cooperated, releasing keycard logs and stating they had no record of checkout. LAPD posted a missing person alert with Elisa's photo. Local news picked it up. Canadian woman missing at downtown LA hotel. The mood on site was tense. Reporters gathered outside the entrance. Guests looked uneasy. Security cameras lined the building. Elisa had disappeared without a trace. The LAPD and hotel staff searched every corner. They checked rooms, empty. They pushed through staff-only corridors, nothing. They drained the pool, clear. They scoured stairwells, shadows, and echoes, but no sign. They climbed to the rooftop and through a maintenance hatch into a dark boiler room. Beyond lay a steel room with 4 water tanks, each 1,000 gallons. These tanks supplied drinking water to guests. In one tank, Elisa's decomposed body was found, floating and unseen from outside the locked room. The discovery rattled everyone. A grief-stricken detective described it as tragic, deeply disturbing. Questions exploded. How did she enter the tank room? There were alarms if accessed. How did she survive in dark, muddy water long enough to drown? Why wasn't she found earlier by staff? Friends wept. Family flew to LA. The local community was stunned. A missing persons case turned into a death investigation with confusion, heartbreak, and unanswered questions. Once Elisa's body was retrieved from the water tank, LA Coroner's Office began the investigation. Autopsy results were released quickly. The report showed no signs of trauma or foul play, no bruises, no broken bones, no evidence of struggle. Her fingerprints and DNA found no trace of other individuals. Cause of death? Accidental drowning. The coroner suspected she had entered the tank alone, slipped, and drowned due to the cold and confusion. The toxicology report revealed prescription antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, but no alcohol, illegal drugs, or high levels of any substance. Her blood alcohol content was 0. There was no indication she was intoxicated. Some found this relieving. There was no murder. Others found it confusing. If this was accidental, why had no one noticed anything wrong? Stairwell cameras didn't catch her heading to the rooftop. Keycard logs didn't record her leaving. Why wasn't she spotted earlier by guests, staff, maintenance? It was a locked room, with alarms and security. No malfunction was ever confirmed. A few people asked if this was suicide, but the coroner ruled it accidental, citing no indication of intent. But the ambiguity lingered. Elisa had mental health issues, but she was purposeful, driven, and friends said she never displayed suicidal thoughts. So, no violence, no defect, no explanation. The autopsy quieted speculation, but the unanswered questions screamed louder. News of Elisa's disappearance and discovery spread like wildfire. Colorized front-page headlines asked, Elisa Lam, mystery in water tank, and happy traveler found dead in hotel. The video of her odd elevator behavior had already gone viral. When news of her death broke, the footage resurfaced, this time with millions of views, countless reactions, and heated discussion across forums like 4chan, Reddit, YouTube, and early Twitter. Internet theorists rewatched the elevator clip frame by frame. Some claimed they saw mysterious figures or hidden messages in the buttons. Others thought it was paranormal, an unseen presence guiding Elisa. Tabloids sensationalized the story. Paranormal investigators flocked. Amateur sleuths visited the Biltmore, climbed near the roof, and published ghost hunting videos. Local tours added the Elisa Lam room to their Los Angeles haunted history route. T-shirts and stickers offered slogans like Elisa's Elevator, enter if you dare. The media frenzy changed the narrative from tragic to eerie, drifting into horror branding. The facts took a back seat to mystery, fear, and spectacle. Her family, meanwhile, asked for privacy and compassion. But the tide of clicks, income, and obsession washed over that plea. The mystery now belonged to the world, online, overnight, forever. As the media lurched into sensationalism, various theories emerged. Suicide theory. Mental health experts noted Elisa's history of depression and bipolar disorder. Some said she might have had a breakdown, but missing text messages and phone calls suggested she was looking forward to meeting friends. No final goodbye, no distress signs. Accidental death. This was the official verdict. Clumsy accident, roof access, per signage, midnight disorientation, cold water. But she was a bright student. Would she act randomly? Foul play. Some pointed at a maintenance worker or hotel staff mistake. No DNA evidence or eyewitness accounts supported this. Paramedic fixation. Fans noted her resume included volunteer work at hospitals. Some speculated she was studying. She filmed and looked at pipelines. Could thirst for stories have led her somewhere unsafe? No proof. Paranormal and occult. True crime channels suggested she was pushed or trapped by something unknown. Ghost hunters claimed her spirit lingered, drawn to the elevator. These narratives mixed spiritual horror with tragedy and overlooked basic facts. Eventually, even the LAPD called out the conspiracy, the noise overshadowing the truth. But the theory stayed, fueled by the internet spotlight. After Elisa's body was found, the Biltmore Hotel faced scrutiny. Was it negligence or merely tragic chance? Hotel management issued a statement. They deeply regret the loss and reassure guests it's safe. They claim staff followed protocol and no access should have been possible to the water tanks. But former employees and contractors offered contrasting stories. One night shift worker, requesting anonymity, said the rooftop door wasn't always locked. He recalled, it wouldn't always clank shut. I propped it once just to carry supplies up. Another staff member recalled hearing water dripping in the boiler room late at night, often dismissed as pipe noise. Maintenance logs didn't record anything unusual that month. Investigators requested the hotel's maintenance records. Entries were vague. Some staff forgot to log keycard swipes for roof access that week. The hotel arranged for in-house lawyers and PR teams to meet with the Schaefer family. They paid tribute, offered condolences, and promised full cooperation. A release from the family stated they accepted the coroner's findings and would make no criminal allegations. Still, doubts remained within the local service community. Was it systemic negligence? A tragic accident? Or something else entirely? In the weeks following the incident, the Schaefer family debated legal options. Could they sue the hotel? Responsibility or accident? Their lawyer reviewed keycard logs, security protocols, maintenance records, staff statements, and LA building codes. They argued Elisa should never have been able to enter the tank room alone. The Biltmore's legal team argued liability was impossible. Elisa boarded multiple restricted alarms. She accessed maintenance rooms and a locked hatch. No single person could be held responsible for her own actions. Negotiations continued behind closed doors. Rumors circulated that settlements were arranged in exchange for confidentiality. No lawsuit was publicly filed. The Schaefer family said they never wanted money, only clarity. The hotel declined public comment and legal documents remained sealed. The unresolved legal dispute fueled conspiracy and social media commentary. Who had the right to access sensitive hotel areas? Who paid? And more importantly, what really happened? The legal silence created space for wild guesses, rumors, and new online detective activity, keeping Elisa's disappearance alive in net discourse. To better understand the case, we spoke to several experts. Dr. Helen Carter, forensic pathologist, reviewed autopsy and death scene details. She said, the condition of the body aligns with drowning, but the lack of trauma means she didn't fall. She entered submerged alive. Dr. Marcus Nguyen, psychologist, suggested bedlam could be psychological. High-rise anxiety, feeling lost in corridors, elevator distress. These can lead to panic, disorientation, poor decision-making. And Ramirez, building safety architect, reviewed the Biltmore's blueprints. She observed that emergency exits required 3 manual actions. None would allow easy access with cameras and alarms. This made unmonitored access extremely unlikely. Yet, Ramirez added, older systems can fail. Manuals aren't always followed. If alarms were silenced, perhaps to carry luggage, it could go unrecorded. Combining these inputs paints a portrait of unusual behavior, inadequate safety systems, and human fallibility. Still, the tension remains. Was it accident or anomaly? After the hotel released the elevator footage, it went viral. Paranormal forums, Reddit threads, YouTube channels exploded. Online detectives scoured every frame for clues. Some claimed they saw a figure following Elisa in the hallway, although camera angles were vague. Others interpreted her gestures as attempts to communicate with someone unseen. One viral theory: Elisa was talking to ghosts. Her hand motions meant she was signaling invisible beings. Another theory: she was mentally unwell, suffering a psychotic episode. Her gestures? Not communication, but confusion, fear, panic. This discussion became echo chamber. Every viewer projected their fears onto the footage. Channels titled Elisa Lam, "The Elevator That Never Closed," garnered millions of views. Stack Overflow style comment threads argued, bathroom or hallway? Return to floor? To where? The online frenzy refocused the story from a real person to a sensational mystery, fueling new speculation and haunting millions. The Schaeffers issued a heartfelt public statement. "Please respect our privacy." They called Elisa a passionate, loving daughter. They asked for her to be seen as a person, not a ghost. Her father said, "She lived life with purpose. We want her remembered that way." Her brother described her as kind, creative, inquisitive. They drew boundaries: no sensational coverage, no ghost tours. They kept silent through legal negotiations. Yet they later allowed small, respectful documentaries, demanding dignity, context, and care. Fundraising efforts were created in her honor, supporting mental health, film scholarships, and awareness initiatives. Elisa's legacy began to grow, quietly, but meaningfully. And though heartbreak lingered, the family emphasized love, acceptance, and healing. Elisa Lam's story seeped into culture. Horror podcasts dedicated episodes. Netflix included it in Unsolved Mysteries. True crime blogs used her name for traffic. Urban explorers visited the Cecil Hotel to re-examine the site. Paranormal investigators conducted late-night vigils. T-shirts, stickers, ghost tours, Elisa became folklore. Critics warned the story was turning into a grotesque caricature of sensational media. Privacy activists decried grief-based tourism. Yet others argued her case opened conversations about mental health, student pressures, historical preservation, and structural safety, all valuable. Her story won't leave. Elevators still shared online. Water tanks still a grim scene. The hashtag Elisa Lam remains. The mystery stays unsolved and haunting. Her case is a warning. Real people are reduced to internet mysteries. So we must remember her as a person, not just a clip and clickbait. Years passed, but interest in Elisa's case never faded. In 2017, a Reddit user discovered previously unseen keycard log details, showing she'd accessed the roof floor multiple times before her disappearance. That discovery sparked fresh attention. In 2018, with pressure mounting, the LA District Attorney's Office reopened some records. Detectives used updated technology to reanalyze CCTV footage and keycard data, but found no new evidence. A private investigator working with the family filed a public records request. He discovered emails from the hotel asking about roof alarms, but found nothing about follow-through. He pressed for maintenance logs that went missing. Police records revealed at least one previous panic button alarm on the same elevator, triggered late at night just a month before. This alarm had been logged and ignored. These new findings sparked renewed debate among online communities. Everyone from amateur sleuths to journalists pored over every detail again. Yet no breakthrough happened. Despite technological advances, facial recognition, audio analysis, none of it produced a fresh lead. The case remained cold, unresolved, almost intangible across the years. Leading experts re-examined key aspects. Dr. Amy Patel, CCTV specialist, said the camera's field of vision didn't cover the rooftop corridor, explaining why Elisa could have walked unseen. The elevator camera angle was not ideal. It didn't capture a full view of the cab. Dr. Miguel Ortiz, forensic psychologist, said Elisa's elevator behavior matched anxiety panic. She was trapped in her mind, disoriented by space and sound. The mind can spiral in moments. George Fisher, former LA building inspector, highlighted lax fire safety in older buildings. The door to the tank room was supposed to be alarmed, but the alarm was never installed. Yet others remained skeptical. Tech YouTubers questioned the 2017 log leak. It could have been manipulated. The defense: if we don't trust the conspiracy, we don't trust anything. The clash between expert opinion and conspiracy theory was clear. The case remained layered: fact, speculation, technology, human error. Elisa's disappearance became more than a mysterious case. It became a mirror for society. It highlighted how mental health challenges can intersect tragically with isolation and technology. It revealed how hospitality industry safety structures, left unchecked, can fail. The case also shows how the internet can amplify tragedy, turning real people into sensational stories. It sparked conversations about ethics and true crime. Who owns the narrative? What is off limits? What should stay private? The Schaefer family's grace in handling the attention. They hugged memory, not mystery. Their work inspired film scholarships and mental health campaigns, carrying Elisa's compassion forward. Today, her name remains etched in chilling fascination, but also heartfelt remembrance. The elevator video runs, the tank remains, the hashtag endures. Still unsolved, still haunting. But maybe that's the point. Some stories don't end, they echo. And Elisa's echo reminds us to see the person, not the image. Even now, years later, key pieces remain unsolved. How did Elisa enter the locked tank room without detection? Why did an alarm sound when doors were opened? Which keycard was used, and by whom? Why was the body found days later, if guests and cleaners passed by daily? The case folder is locked, but the questions keep growing. Some challenge LAPD's methodology, others the hotel's maintenance. No final report, no firm answers. The silence is deafening, and that silence is the legacy. True crime ethics professor Dr. Sophie Lin questions the public's fascination. Elisa's tragedy is not content. It's a conversation on ethics. Internet culture expert David Ng warns. People became obsessed with footage, not facts. That shapes our collective memory. Tourist guide Maria Hernandez regrets turning her hotel into a thrill stop. Guests come for the creep, but they don't know Elisa. Ethicists ask, how do we honor victims without commodifying their loss? Can ghost videos and hashtags do more harm than good? Classmate Jenna remembers Elisa's humor and resilience through depression. Friend Zach emphasizes her kindness and determination. Others recall her dream of making documentaries, candid, creative, and curious. They reflect on her final days, not disappearance. They didn't see a broken girl. They saw someone grappling with creative pressure and late-night anxiety. They talk about her resilience, not fragility. Through their words, Elisa becomes more than footage or speculation. She becomes a person, empathetic, motivated, complex. The footage of Elisa in that elevator became one of the most watched creepypasta videos. It's frame-by-frame replaying birthed fan theories and spooky remixes. Tech analysts debated the footage's gaps. Ghost hunters labeled it supernatural. Mental health professionals saw panic. The footage, grained, silent, unsettling, became more than evidence. It became iconography. But for Elisa's loved ones, that tape is less sensational, more surreal. They see a young woman caught in anxiety and caught in memory. After this case, several hotels audited elevator access, installing self-closing doors and better alarm locks. Building codes evolved. At universities, mental health programs emphasize student resources. Group housing places focus on crisis lines and late-night safety. Elisa's disappearance became a catalyst for change, compassion, and awareness. Her story highlights a gap between infrastructure and humanity and stands as a lesson. The Lam Foundation Scholarship supports aspiring filmmakers focusing on mental health stories. Annual bursaries at LACC and UCLA encourage student art that explores human wellness. Each year on February 1st, candlelight vigils are held online, quiet tributes around Elisa's birthday, seeking healing, not horror. These are the quieter echoes of her life, creative, caring, courageous. As we come to the end of this documentary, our invitation is clear: to see Elisa not as a viral mystery, but as a life. To replace sensational speculation with empathy. To honor her journey. Filmmaker, friend, daughter, student. Her story teaches. Backhand index pointing right to check in with one another. Backhand index pointing right to respect privacy. Backhand index pointing right to stand for safety and compassion. Backhand index pointing right to remember that real life isn't a clip, it's people. Elisa's disappearance remains unexplained. But what remains certain, her spirit continues to inspire. And maybe now, her story can close not with a question, but with a quiet promise. Your life matters. Your story matters. And yes, you are not alone.